DIY guitar making at Eric Schaefer Guitars. In this episode, we're continuing the rules for a successful guitar repair business. And this next rule is going to be all about specialization and why specialization is important for an independent repair person. So why specialize? You might think it actually makes sense to do the opposite and cast a very wide net so that you can, catch more fish. So you might think that you want to get into setups and guitar electronics on electric guitars and doing neck resets and working on archtop guitars and doing heavy restoration work, and really just anything that comes your way you might be game for. And to some degree, that's actually a good thing. In fact, if you're just getting started, there's good reason to experiment in all facets of lutherie in order to find where your strengths are and or where you simply want to specialize. And there's a couple reasons why you want to do this, why you want to specialize. And one of them is that you simply don't want to be the jack of all trades, master of none kind of person, because those people do not get super ecstatic, happy customers. They might get some happy customers, a mixture of happy customers, neutral customers, and even some unhappy customers because they're taking on things that they shouldn't be taking on. And really, in the independent guitar repair person business, you only want one type of customer, and you don't need too many of them, and that's super happy customers. You might think that you want all kinds of customers, the more the better, quantity, right? But really, that's the wrong mindset for this type of business. You really only need just a handful of good returning customers to have a sustaining business. Don't try and compete with the Guitar Centers of the world who exist on volume. Rather take the opposite approach and try to exist on a small subset of happy customers who desire quality over cheapness. Another reason to specialize is so that you can pare down your offerings in order to optimize your process and or your space that you're working in. So let's say you want to become the setup guy. So you want to specialize in setups. Maybe you'll specialize in some other things as well, but you really just want to be known. You want to be the guy you go to get a quick but good setup. And what you can do, if you're that guy, is you can optimize your space to be able to do that efficiently. So you can have a separate bench that is set up to do setups. And that way you can accumulate like 5 or 6 setups and then just knock them all out one after the other in an efficient but still careful and meticulous manner, which is just better for you because you can save time that way as far as like tear down and pulling out your tools and all of that. It's all right there. And then it's better for the customer because they're getting a better rate because you're not charging them for the extra time that it takes you to clear your bench of whatever you were doing before that, do a setup, then clean it up and go back to what you were doing. So personally, what I do as far as specialization, and everyone's story and situation is going to be different, so you're going to specialize in something different. But what I do is I specialize in acoustic guitar repairs and restorations. And so I'm actually cutting out a lot there. I don't deal with the electronics of electric guitars at all, or even the electronics on acoustic electrics. I just don't do electronics. It's not that I haven't done them before. When I started out, I was dabbling in a little bit of everything, and over time I found that it just wasn't my thing. Not that I wasn't interested in it at all, but the interest just wasn't there in the same way that I feel for acoustic guitars, so I really specialized in acoustics. Also, I build acoustic guitars, but I don't build electric guitars. So that kind of goes hand in hand with what I do. I also don't do, for the most part, setups at all, and that's primarily because of my location. I'm kind of out in the sticks, and this is something you might have to consider for yourself based on your location. If I was living in a city or a major metropolitan area, I would probably do setups because I could stack several setups back to back and clear my bench and just focus on setups for a day or something like that. But given the fact that I live out in the sticks, it doesn't really make sense for me to do that because setups come in too infrequently for me to actually be able to have a sort of backlog of setups to work on. So it makes more sense for me to focus on larger restoration and repair projects, things, bridge re-glues, neck resets, stuff like that, removing a fretboard, removing a top. These sorts of things justify the extra time that it takes to set up and tear down because they are large projects in and of themselves. It makes sense for me, given the amount of money that I'm making from that type of repair, to take them on and to clear my bench space of whatever I was doing before in order to commit to it. Also, I've gotten very good at these types of acoustic repairs because I've focused on them. And so I've become known for just those pretty much. I'll do a setup every once in a while, but mostly just as the end result of a repair. Most repairs end with a setup on the instrument at the end. But then occasionally I'll just do a free setup for a friend or something like that. And actually I'll talk a little bit about that in another rule later on, why you would want to give away your work for free sometimes. I also specialize in my building because I don't build electric guitars, I don't build mandolins, I don't build ukuleles or other stringed instruments. I really just build flat top acoustic guitars. And so my shop environment is optimized for that sort of thing. I'm not constantly building new molds and jigs in order to deal with the specific idiosyncratic methods of mandolin builders or ukulele makers or anything like that. I can focus on what it means to be an acoustic flat top guitar maker and just get really good at that. But we're talking about guitar repair here, not guitar making, but I think there's a good overlap there that helps to explain what I mean by specialization. So what specialization really comes down to is saying no to certain types of jobs in order to maintain focus on the type of jobs that you really want to excel at. So it's just something to think about. This is going to be different for every person, and maybe in your situation, again, I don't live in a major city, but if you do live in a major city, you might offer a little bit more than I do, but you still don't want to offer everything. Don't be a jack of all trades. Anyway, that's it for today. In the next rule, we're going to talk about why you want to seek only mutually beneficial relationships with your customers. If you learned something here, please give this video a like and subscribe so you can be notified when I release a new DIY guitar making video every Friday. And if you want to really learn more, take one of my structured online courses at ericschaferguitars.com or register for a hands-on guitar building workshop here with me in Burnville, Pennsylvania.